you can call up on anyone who really takes pride in their fitness, and you will find that they have a sense of discipline that's unmatched, right? And so, just for that sake alone, I believe everyone should cultivate fitness in their life, right? Because it's an easy way to just build discipline in your life, and discipline is a universal key. Discipline opens all the doors, right? My discipline started from fitness, which now bleeds over to business, and I'm able to crush it in business because I have discipline, right? So just for that sake, I mean, everyone. Again, I'm biased, right? But I definitely believe everyone ought to cultivate fitness as a discipline, just because of all the benefits that come from it.
New York, D-Town, LA, NO, Florida, Mississippi, KC, MO, Show 'em what you stand for. Show 'em what you stand for. Show 'em what you stand for. Chi-Town, Tennessee, Carolinas, Alabama, Oakland, St. Louis, Detroit, Atlanta. Show 'em what you stand for. Show 'em what you stand for.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Kings Can Move On podcast. You have your co-host right here, Frank the Tank, a.k.a. Big Reno, along with my boy, Jason Stewart, a.k.a. Wood Up to No Good. What's up, baby boy?
We gave my whole government name today, huh? Okay, that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing today, man. That's what we're doing today.
Okay, well, y'all know my whole name now. I'm Mr. Jason Stewart, official.
Hey, man, if the government gonna come after us, we gotta. They're coming after both of us, not just me, man.
Well, there you go. We going down together, Bobby. Okay, I feel you. I feel you. You know, the edition of the KCMO podcast. Welcome everybody back. And you know what we're gonna do tonight? You know, last season we ended the season on a fitness note. We talked to a young brother, Nick. I think it was Sulius up in Canada. He was talking about fitness and eating a certain way and doing all kind of stuff. You know, it went to the holidays and we probably all fell off. And nothing stuck. So we were back at it, and tonight we have another guest that's in the health and wellness and fitness space. So I'll let you introduce our guest, Frank.
So this brother I found on Facebook, and when he reached out to me and asked to be on, or I asked him to be on, I can't even remember, man. It's a long time ago. I thought that he definitely would be a good guest. He's originally from Africa. He reminds me of myself because he's in his 20s. And when I was in my 20s, I had a body just like that. And I'm just a little bit off right now. So please welcome everybody, Mr. Kefrene. I'm sorry, and I won't try to butcher your name, brother. How do you say your last name?
Oh, good. Kefrene Zakpa.
Zakpa. How you doing, brother?
Hey, doing fantastic. Pleasure to be here with y'all.
Nice. Thank you for being on, man. Thank you for being on.
And so, I don't know, dude, if you was doing like shadow talking or boxing just a minute ago, but your screen went out while you was talking.
My screen went out?
Yeah, it went black screen like you was shadow boxing. So I don't know what we're doing, but anyway.
Well, man, probably because I'm trying to look at our questions too, because I'm trying to do a dual thing. But so since I can't look at the questions, I'm just gonna wink it, and you just have to go off of them, brother.
I'll bring you back in.
Okay. So, friend, what you are from Africa. Let's talk about that first, man. Tell me what part of Africa are you from?
West Africa, Côte d'Ivoire is the country itself. Most people know Ghana, so I usually say we're right next door to Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you make your trek over to the States?
So that was back in 2014. So I'm pretty sure my parents planned it, but I was born here, and then a few months later we went right back, right? And so it was always somewhat in the plans of me pursuing higher education here. And so when it was time for my senior of high school, I just came a year earlier just to kind of get a feel for it. Went to Maryland, and then from Maryland here in Kansas City.
And is English your native tongue, or what is
second language? French is.
French.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny about that, man? My oldest son, he would have been 29 this year. 30. Yeah, excuse me, he'd been 30 this year. But when when he was in kindergarten,
Mm.
me and my wife at that time, we were looking at, the school district and schools that we want to put him in. And one of the things that we looked at was a French magnet,
Mm.
a school that basically taught French from kindergarten all the way up until freshman year in high school. And they taught it in French. And when we were reading up on it, it said that a lot of the countries in Africa, that's their primary language.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. It's you either get French. I mean, you get French or English, right? And then you pretty go into countries, they're like specific dialects. Like my parents speak the original dialect. They didn't teach us, but yeah, French and English will get you pretty much any and everywhere.
And I think so, Kefrene, that's primarily because of the colonization, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The French colonized certain areas, and yeah, I have a few friends from Africa. One friend of mine is from Equatorial Guinea, I think, and he speaks French and Spanish and English.
Yep.
So yeah, he has them all covered. Yeah, it's interesting. So, Kefrene, I look at your Facebook profile. I notice you have a company named Elevate You, right?
Sir.
And you have a shirt on as well. Elevate You University.
I do. Any opportunity I can get to put it out there, I will.
You got to promote yourself. I'm all about that too. So let's talk about that for a minute. What about what your company's about health and fitness, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, to give the pitch in a nutshell, we help business owners and solopreneurs, more or less automate their health and fitness and streamline the process by taking on, that aspect of their life, right? So, put in place a fitness GPS, which helps them save time in the gym so they can just be in and out with like a straight line. Put in place what we call the never diet again system, which is just about absorbing the foods that they're already eating and just like putting in a structure that's just like compatible for their goals so they don't have to like diet. And then we provide them with VIP accountability. We have the Elevate You app as well. So it's all online. So I want to preface by saying that. And yeah, I've been doing that for the last couple of years and it's been awesome.
So you said
What
we do it. You have a team, or you have some partners with you, or how does that work?
I have a VA, a virtual assistant, who helps on the back end of things. And I continue to say we because I mean, yeah, right now it's two of us, but the goal of the company, especially this year, is to grow beyond just myself. So originally it was like KZ Fit, right, which was all about it was me, my initials, right, and so moving to Elevate You is sort of to highlight the bigger vision that this is not about me, right? It's a company, and yeah, right now I have a virtual assistant, but the goal is to start hiring trainers, nutritionists, and all that good stuff, and continue to grow. So it's very much a we and my clients as well, right? They're part of the vision, so hence the we.
Okay, that's dope. So,
well, let me ask this, man, because Jason really's out of shape, right? Jason really needs a lot of help. So tell me, man, how can someone who is overweight like Jason get into shape? What should they do? What should somebody start doing from the jump? He's not fit like you and me, dog.
We'll help Jason out, man.
please.
Sure. I mean, so my big from my experience, so I've been in the health space for 4 years, right? I've been in coaching for 4 years. And one of the first things that I noticed is oftentimes people don't make it an intention, right? And so it's like I would start there, like making it an intention, like, okay, I am going to do this, right? Getting that internal dialogue to be in line with the goal itself, because that's where it all stems from. Like everything else, the strategies, the tactics, the like eat this, eat that, like all of that is second, right? It really comes down to like the individual themselves is like, are you really make that mental switch, right? Because once you do, you'll find the answers. Again, we're in 2020 You can Google any and everything and find all the answers. So from what I do with my guys is just like helping them go through that mental reframing of like, okay, this is not just like a hobby. This is not just like you know, this like activity that I'm just doing, but like really helping them um internalize this change so that the strategies stick. So I would say, Jason, are you ready to make that internal dialogue and make that internal shift with yourself of like conquering health and fitness? Is that your intention? If so, can you verbalize it? Do you internalize it? And then from then it's a walk in the park.
You saying I gotta make it real. I can't just be halfway doing it. Like, yeah, I want to get fit, but I'm kind
Right.
of busy. I see if I get my schedule and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I,
100%.
I
100%.
but I've noticed from your page, you look like you could be on stage somewhere, like performing competition. And I ain't. But I'm just.
And that can intimidate a lot of people.
Did you start off like with someone coaching you to get like that, or were you just like that early on the fitness?
No, man. I mean, I started lifting when I was the first time I was ever in the gym was 20. So I'm 25 now, right?
Really?
Um, and no, 19, sorry. And I didn't have a coach or anything. I just had a desire. So it kind of goes into like my own backstory, but like for me, it started from a place of very like being insecure, right? I was, that's when I moved to the States. I was in America, and I mean, I don't know what they feed you guys here, but like everyone's like massive, everyone's jacked, people who played football, like full grown beards, and like I felt like I looked like a child. And it was just like, um, I felt like I was like a target, a prey. Like I was just like too weak. And so out of that insecurity was like, well, let's do something about it. And then my when I went to college, I had like access to a gym membership. So I just started picking up weights. Went through a whole bunch
Were
of
you
like,
going by yourself?
what's that?
Were you going by yourself, or did you have a partner at that time?
So in college, I had a homie, and my
Mhm.
my roommate at the time too. So it was just like it started very much as like a fun social activity. And then after my freshman year, I mean, life dealt me with a different set of cards where I couldn't go back to college, and that's when my own personal like solo journey started, and that like I didn't have anything to fall back on. So it's just like battling insecurities and also just like life being life was just like when I really went all in with the gym thing and just like really focus on like growth in all aspects. So that's how that came out to be.
Okay. So you, I'm sorry. So you're saying basically you had certain circumstances happen to you
Yeah.
that kind of altered your path and made you pivot, and you ended up where you are now. This wasn't your original plan, huh?
Oh no, not at all. I had no idea I'd be doing this. I had no idea whatsoever. I mean, if you'd asked me 5 years ago what I wanted to do, it would probably be like, um, be a general manager somewhere, managerial position, management. Um, yeah, yeah. This was not in the books at all. So
Wow.
So when you guys started, Kefrene, with it, and you decided, okay, I'm going to do this and make this, my mission and my goal, did you have like mentors leading you through, or did you just do a crash course and run through it yourself?
no. So the first 2 years, I thought I could figure it out by myself. The first 2 years, I was just like, um, I got a license, I got my certification. I was just like, I found it was a God moment, and like I found an empty gym, and like I rented the space, and like started driving traffic there. And so I did that for 2 years, and then I met my current mentor who helped me sort of like view business in a different light, right? Where it was less about trading time for dollars, but rather like actual creating a business, right? And so he helped me scale things online and just like get app together. And so I'm a big believer in mentorship and coaches because once I worked with him, so like his whole mantra was like, how to scale to like, 6 figures. And then I got a different coach after that. So yeah, I'm a big believer in coaches, and like the only way I could have been here is through those coaches that helped me organize like the abstract into like a tangible, path for me to take.
Okay. Okay.
So what makes you good in your business? I mean, because it sounds like you're disciplined is a big thing for you. What do you feel makes you great in your business? Because you have two. You said you started one, and now you changed the name to Elevate You, right?
Right, 100%. So, I mean, that's a good question. So you said, so what makes me great in my business? That's a question.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a couple of things, right? So from a business perspective, at the end of the day, I'm charged with the mission of helping the business owners that I work with, right? Primarily men, right? The men that I work with across the finish line to get to their goal, right? And so from my own like experiences in terms of like dealing live, dealing with the cards we dealt with, right? Whether it was like the depression I've dealt with, the like adversity I've dealt with, I've been able to empathize with some like the mental struggle that comes with the whole fitness journey. Because not only did I go through the fitness journey, the mental challenge of the fitness journey, but also the broader life thing around it also went through it, right? And so going back to helping someone go from point A to point B, you know, oftentimes when I'm dealing with these guys, it's like fitness is a symptom to a much bigger problem, right? It's usually
Yeah.
a lack of discipline around there, or just like um, a greater problem with just the individual itself. And so, because I had to go through that process of like reinventing myself and like really changing my like again 5 years, I used to like I was not disciplined, right? I used to, smoke, drink, do all that good stuff. But because I went through that process of changing myself from the inside out, in fitness, in business, and in life, I've been able to sort of like conceptualize a roadmap that I can then teach these skills to someone else, right? And be like, hey, here's how I rewired myself to become this discipline, right? To achieve this.
Did you have a support system when doing that?
When I was going through my whole like my own personal,
Uh-huh.
uh, on and off, right? It's like, I've had friends, for different seasons, that come and go, right? But at the end of the day, and I tell this to my guys all the time, like going through that change is like as much as you may have people around you, like it's all within, right? Because I can tell, hey, I had friends, but like no one would understand what I was going through, right? I didn't have a figure that could go to and just be like, man, like I'm feeling this type of way today. Like, what do I do? No, all of that had to be within. And I even tell that to my guys because like I can coach you, but at the end of the day, it's like those those inner demons and that inner struggle is like it has to be like I'm not here to take the place of leadership in your life. I provide a framework, but you have to step in as a leader in your own life, in your own rights, to be able to like come out on top, right? And so, I like to say that I help business owners become business leaders because at the end of the day, it's like helping them tap into those leadership aspects of themselves so that they can lead themselves, in those aspects. So I don't believe a coach's job is to like, or a mentor or a friend is to like no one can take your hand. They can show you a framework and show you a plan, but like you have to step up yourself.
Right.
Yeah, God, it's self-talk.
Yeah,
Self-talk.
yeah. So that's what I went through. Um,
And I think, friend, I heard you say that. Did you say you stopped drinking and smoking on this?
yeah.
Okay. So already I see a problem with you helping Frank because I don't think it's gonna work if you're gonna help Frank because Frank drinks and Frank smokes.
Hey
And
man, don't be putting my personal business out there, dog. I don't appreciate that.
Exposing you. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but that's so true because me and Jason, we went to college. We've known each other for a long
Yeah.
ass time, like 35 plus years. But one thing that I can remember, when we went to college together, there was this dude named Babe. Babe was just like looked like a baby Incredible Hulk. You remember Babe?
I think
And when
yeah.
Babe would go work out and just would work out, but then after he finished working out, he would down 2 40 ounces of beer. Like, and I don't, you probably don't know what a 40 ounce beer is, but I would say it's the equivalent of probably a 6 pack of beer.
Mm-hmm.
He would drink a 6 pack of beer within 30 minutes,
Right.
and Babe would be cool the next day. I don't know what Babe looks like now in 30 years, but man, he was still cut back then. You know, so that's, I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, being 19 and 20 doing all that and being
Yeah.
40 and doing that is a big difference that your body can react. You know, I don't know. I mean, of course, like our previous guest talked about, you know, his focus is on men above 40 because testosterone levels and other things that we suffer from. So, you know, do you really dig into the nutrition aspect of it too, Kefrene?
Yeah, 100%. Nutrition is 80% of the. It's not. I mean, that's the biggest piece right there, right? And so the framework that I coach my guys nutrition with is, I titled it the Never Died Again system, as I mentioned it earlier, right? And to, how I came about that is like, so I achieve my results and like, even the guys that I teach without adhering to like any one diet in particular, right? It wasn't like keto that did it. It wasn't intermittent fasting that did it, right? And so, and when people approach health and fitness and like, okay, I want to start getting healthy, obviously they think, oh, nutrition first, right? They think what diet I need to pick on. And so when you go on Google, you find all these name brand diets that throw you in a billion different directions. But from the way I see it, it's very misleading, right? Because um, that is not something that you can essentially those diets at least, right? When you talk about keto, carnivore, paleo, and all those different ways, again, no harm if anyone follows that, but I know it's not necessary, right? And so the big misconception is people have is like, I have to do this in order to achieve X, Y, and Z result, right? And what happens more often than not is like, okay, I'll do the keto thing, and they do so for a week, 2 weeks, a month, right? And then it's the cousin's birthday next week, and there's a birthday cake, and that starts the whole cycle, like falling apart, right? And so what I teach my guys is reaching the fundamental understanding of food, right? So the Never Died Again system has 3 pillars. Number one, understanding what are your specific body type, age, height, weight, activity levels, all that. How much calories do you need? What are the macros that you specifically need, right? Because everyone has that. It's all like a math equation, right? In terms of understanding your calorie intake, your macros. Once you understand that, it's like, okay, cool. That's the top line, right? Then second, it's like the foods that I'm already eating, they feed into those calories and they feed into those macros, right? So how can I just eat that in a way that meets those numbers, right?
How does somebody determine that though?
So there are tools and devices you can leverage, right? So like MyFitnessPal, for example, is a good like digital app that like lets you see the calorie content of the foods you're eating, the macros of the foods you're eating. The nutrition facts label, will tell you how many calories is in the food, what the protein, carbs, fat, it will break all of that down, right? So that's relatively easy. But yeah, then just like aligning the foods that you're eating, and just making sure that that number adds up to, the given number of like where you should be in terms of calories and macros, right? And then from there is just like leveraging that data and that information to tweak things along the way, right? But here's why I'm such an advocate for that method, right? Because for one, I'm not making these already busy guys who are just like busy with business, family, and all that good stuff have to do a whole 360 about their diet, right? And now they have to like empty out the fridge, buy this whole new thing, right? They're eating one thing, their spouse is eating another, right? All that stuff gets messy. So it takes away that problem already of just like, oh man, I'm too busy, right? It takes away that problem. And for two, because you're already eating the foods you're already eating, it's something you can actually be sustainable with. And we all know at the end of the day, consistency what breeds results, right? So because they can be consistent, they actually see the results, right? I just put
So,
this, but
so if I'm hearing you correctly, then you're saying no one doesn't necessarily have to, and I've heard this before, you don't necessarily have to change what you're eating, just change how much of it you're eating, as
100%.
well as do something to burn that food. Besides something more than just your regular everyday burn. Am I
Sure.
right in that?
Yes, but I want to be careful, right? Because I'm aware that someone may listen to this and be like, "Well, I'm eating, McDonald's every day and Five Guys for breakfast and
Mm-hmm.
Domino's for dinner," right? Someone will hear this and be like, "Oh, I can just keep on doing what I'm doing." So I'm not saying that there isn't foods that are on the lower end of the spectrum, right? There's definitely that factor at play. But what I am saying is, and I mean, I'll say, but like you can lose fat still eating those foods. Is it what's best for your health? Not so much,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, but
Not
that's
the healthiest options. Still
right,
look at healthy options though.
100%.
Yeah, because you can lose fat and do all that, but you still could be hurting your system,
Yeah,
high cholesterol, the blood pressure, the sugars, all that still is affecting you long term. So
right.
it's not just I want to burn some fat or put on some muscle. So for you, friend, what is like your daily diet looks like?
So let's see. So I wake up around 4. I usually have a bowl of oats with some fruits in there and protein. I add my protein in my oats. That's my first meal. Then I hit the gym. When I come back, I have like a post workout drink that I drink. Like it's called protein isolate, and it's just like a fast digesting protein, right? And then with some form of like quick acting carbs, right? So um, that'll be like my post workout. Then I'll either get some variety of like either sweet potatoes, regular potatoes as my carb source for my first meal, or burrito, and then a protein, right? Either ground turkey, ground beef, chicken, steak, some variety of that. Then, so I eat a lot of meal throughout the day, right? But then I have my second lunch. My second lunch is similar to the first one, but less on the carbs, so like a vegetable instead, right? And then I'll have a midday snack, which is a fruit and then a protein drink. And then the last one will be look more like the first lunch.
Damn, man, hold on, dog. You just labeled like you just put in there like about 15 different meals that you can have. I
It's,
eat one
it's
time
4 to 5.
and I smell food, dude, and I gained 3 pounds. What the hell?
Well, most people can, right? In terms of like, if you're referring to time, because again, how much time do we spend on social media? How much time do we spend just lollygagging, right?
Mm-hmm.
I put it on my calendar, right? It's like, it's like I have my meal times on my calendar. I'm very, very much so structured. And so because it's on my calendar, I'm visible of like, oh, right now I gotta take a break, 15 minutes, eat, and
Mm-hmm.
right.
So you
Um,
don't eat because you got hungry. You just eat because it's time to eat. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
This sounds
Yeah,
like you don't even
yeah.
enjoy the food. You don't enjoy
I enjoy the food. No, I enjoy the
Yeah,
food.
put them in the bag. Put them in the
Don't
bag.
get me wrong, but like if I want to go by like how hungry like hunger is like it's your body's like hormones talking, right? And so sometimes hunger, you can feel hunger because you're dehydrated, right? So you know if we want to go about like how hungry we are, I mean it can be deceiving because there's also people who are not hungry throughout the day and therefore they don't eat. They eat one meal at the end of the day and it's like, well, I wasn't hungry. Well, I mean, sure, you didn't feel hungry. Maybe you had coffee in the morning, and coffee is an appetite suppressant, so now you're not hungry, but you only ate one meal. That's not efficient. So I eat to get my body to perform at its peak capacity, right? Irrespective of how I feel.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny because our last about fitness, he had the same approach. He got up super early. He had a number of meals throughout the day, and he stopped early. He probably had the last meal like at 7 p.m., maybe 6 p.m. in the evening. So it's real structured. And I think where a lot of us fail. We're not as structured as that. I mean, we have a structure as far as going to work, but, I may skip breakfast. I may have a lunch. I may go a long time before I eat dinner at 9 o'clock in the p.m. It's just, there's no structure to it. So that's our real problem.
For sure. I mean, and it just goes to show, right? So you guys talked about a previous guest who was on here who was waking up early as well, had structure. It just goes to show like the mindset that comes with right? Because he's not the only one, right? You can call up on anyone who really takes pride in their fitness, and you'll find that they have a sense of discipline that's unmatched, right? And so, just for that sake alone, I believe everyone should cultivate fitness in their life, right? Because it's an easy way to just build discipline in your life, and discipline is a universal key. Discipline opens all the doors, right? My discipline started from fitness, which now bleeds over to business, and I'm able to crush it in business because I have discipline, right? So just for that sake, I mean, everyone, again, I'm biased, right? But I definitely believe everyone ought to cultivate fitness as a discipline, just because of all the benefits that come from it.
Well, and I respect it, and it's working for you. Clearly, it's working.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Kefrene. So if somebody wants to find you, if they're in Kansas City area and they're looking for the services you offer, how can they find you?
So they can find me on social media. On Instagram, it's gonna be @thecoachkz. On Facebook, it's Kefrene Zakpa. Spelling out my name, Kefrene Zakpa. And I have a website, not so much a website, but it's more like I do this thing where I started a campaign a month ago where I teach like my method, and it's on the website so people can download that guide, right? But it's gonna be at zelevateyou.com/lender. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And we'll make sure to get all that from you so you can put in the show notes.
Kefrene, real quick, man, can you do me a favor and say something? Say, hey, let's all get in shape in French. Say, get your fat ass in shape.
Allons-y tous à la salle de sport.
Y'all hear that?
Frank,
get y'all fat ass in shape.
And Frank, you say oui, oui. I like to eat too.
Oui, monsieur. Miss oui, monsieur.
Kefrene, I sure appreciate you coming on the podcast, man, and sharing information. Very, very informative, very helpful. I wish you much success in your business.
Appreciate it.
And with that, folks, I'm Lil J, aka Jason Stewart.
And I'm Frank the Tank, aka Big Reno. Y'all don't need my last name.
That's it, y'all. Please move on. Out.
New York, D-Town, LA, NO, Florida, Mississippi, KC, MO, Show 'em what you stand for. Show 'em what you stand for. Show 'em what you stand for. Chi-Town, Tennessee, Carolinas, Alabama, Oakland, St. Louis, Detroit, Atlanta. Show 'em what you stand for. Show 'em what you